Hello, welcome back to Icebane Gaming, and today I have another time lapse for you. This one is going to be me designing both Yuki and Kim, two side characters in that comic I've hinted at earlier. It still is in the pre-production phase, so don't expect it for a little while, but once it's done, once it's ready to start being put out, that's when I'll start putting it out. As you can see, for once, I remembered to hit record before I started the guidelines. So now you guys get to see me go through the process of designing the characters. Basic bone structure, I guess you could say, for the backbone of the drawing. Yuki is going to be the taller one, and Kim is going to be the shorter one. I do mess around with their poses a fair bit. This pose that I have going for Kim is not going to be the one I'm going to keep. I'm going to mess with the arms a lot. I'm even going to mess with the arms after I start on the red lines. I'm just going to go back and fix them up. But yeah. I wasn't quite sure about this pose because, well, it looks quite awkward. I end up going for a pose where she's holding onto a bunch of papers in front of her, and you'll see that later on. I found out the position for the tails, and then I adjusted where they're positioned because I felt like they weren't centered enough for it to be a proper image. Here I start the red lines, though I am not going to type it as red lines on the screen yet, because I still need to do those adjustments. The mouth on the character currently, on Kim, is not going to be like that forever. She's going to end up having a slightly puzzled look about her. She's going to be looking quite deadpan. There's where her mouth is going to be positioned, basically for the rest of the drawing. I lightened up the guidelines because, well, they were a bit dark and they were getting in the way of my sight of the red lines. Here I am designing her outfit. I decided to go for the little heart that I have on Jazz's sweatshirt that you would be able to see if you go to the time lapse of me drawing Jazz again. There's the papers. I liked how that pose looked, so I kept it. And I believe that should be all for the guidelines. I mean, we already started on the red lines a while ago. I took a break here. I don't remember what I was doing. Might have been talking to somebody. And then I started the red lines for Yuki. Yuki is one of my older OCs that originated from a Pathfinder playthrough where I was playing as a Kitsune Bard. I decided to modernize her, make her a musician. And instead of playing a psalter, she's going to be playing a keyboard. Because who in this day of age plays a psalter? As you may have noticed earlier, I did a canvas flip, and that just helps me with figuring out the positioning of everything. If you canvas flip, you could start noticing all the flaws in your work very early on. I decided to design her with a jacket in this one. I did try to do a redesign earlier on stream, however I really did not like the outfit I ended up with. So I redesigned her again. You'll see me select the color palette from the one I did on stream later on. The design that I have her with right now, I decided to do the fur puffs around the collar, kind of like how I had in her design back when she was my Pathfinder character. Instead of a cloak, it's a jacket with a midriff. I did mess with her eyes quite a lot because I wasn't happy with them for a lot of the drawing. Alright, coming up on where I took my first break. I took a break for about a day, then came back to it. When I got back to it, decided to fix up quite a few of the red lines. Here I go with the color selection, figuring out the color flats. And here I go taking it from the stream. I'm going to remove the clothes color palette because, well, I wasn't going to use those colors. Decided to make her jacket a dark purple, almost black. As I say in basically every video I do, where I do an art time-lapse, a natural black is never true black. It's never Vanta. It usually is some other shade of another color, just a really dark version of another color. I usually like to do a very dark blue or a dark purple when I'm doing a black. There I go with the eyes. Eyes are the windows to the soul. And I gave her glasses, as you could see. Wanted her to have a slightly nerdy look about her. I also designed her to be pleasantly plump because the image I used for reference, I had a very fluffy tanuki. I don't believe I mentioned earlier, Kim is a tanuki, Yuki's a fox. The fox part would probably be easy to figure out, but tanuki, they don't always look the way that they are depicted in a lot of anime and cartoons. I do mess with the color palette a little bit, but it would be barely noticeable because it's moving so fast. You'll see it a little bit more noticeably here because of the face fur covers like a third of the screen. I realized there that the black outline goes above the eyes, so I fixed that a bit. There's the cream and black tail. Here are Yuki's eyes. And there I go with the ears. I sharpen a lot of lines in the hair because, well, I didn't like how round the lines looked. Felt a little too sharp, a little too sloppy. Or, well, the other way around. I wanted them to look sharp because they looked too sloppy. And there's the folds in the arm, and I did a little something with the zipper here. And there was a little bit of silver for her earrings. I'm going to fix the shoulder. It's going to move very quickly when I do. Because the shoulder was a little too low. Here I go on the belt. Looks very nice. And I believe I'm going to adjust the tail a little bit. not right now. There are the clamps for the keyboard case. Yuki's got some back muscles to be able to carry a keyboard like that. There I go with the tail. I adjusted the little emerald bit of her eyes because, well, I felt like the coloring was quite bland. Classic me with a fur pattern. Work inside out. Makes that color drop just so much easier. I'm going to lighten up the lines around the collar, I believe, because, well, they looked a bit too chunky. Really, a lot of this is just coloring. Not much special to say, other than on this belt buckle, I was trying to think of like a faded texture, but then I didn't. Here I go, fixing up Yuki's eyes. I feel like I made the irises and pupils a little small. I might adjust them for future iterations to be a little bit bigger. Here I start on the background, as you can see. Afterwards we get into the shading. I did a darker backdrop here. But I fixed it up later because I realized that the darker backdrop did not feel right. Here I go selecting the colors for the shading and lighting. I decided to do a gradient for the shading and lighting because I wanted the blues to be on the side of Kim and the pinks and magentas to be on the side of Yuki. There I go with the shading. I really like this brush. Haven't changed it up in a while because, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I learned how to do this smudgy brush in a earlier iteration of Jazz. Here I go fixing up the shading on the briefcase because it wasn't going to be a gradient shading. It's a box. Here I go starting on the lighting. Mostly to add accents to a bunch of stuff. You really see the lighting pop and darker colored objects. Here I go fixing the shading on Kim because I realized that the light source would not be directly in front of them, and if it was, it wouldn't have the same effect that I had going. The light source is going to be like up into the middle of both Yuki and Kim, so that's why the lighting is facing both of them. Here I go fixing up the backdrop and doing my signature. I thought that the brighter backdrop looked nicer. Well, that's all I have to show for you. Thank you guys very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do, and more importantly, have a nice day. Bye.